The far north of Kruger is known for fever tree forests and iconic places like Crook's Corner and Lanner Gorge. But did you know that you can explore it on foot, with a backpack on your back? During the first week of November, we had the privilege of doing a 4-day wilderness trail with professional guide Andrew and backup guide Claudia Faulkner. They took us to some of their favorite places and gave us the opportunity to take off our shoes. Oh man, it's so nice to walk barefoot for once. To step outside of our comfort zones. Just wash myself in a natural spring where buffalo and elephants come and drink. And to spend quality time with friends and family.
Probably one of the most wild places I've ever been.
We camped at some of the most beautiful spots I've ever seen, explored Pafuri's hidden treasures, and completely immersed ourselves in nature. Just came around the bend here to have a pee here behind one of the rocks, and here are some crocodile tracks. Join me on this adventure as we take a walk on the wild side. We started at the outpost lodge where we could fill up with cold water and get all of our gear and backpacks ready before a short trail briefing.
It has happened where one breaks the herd and comes at us. Instead of grouping like that, we'll take cover, whether that's your tree, a rock, a mound, a little hole. At worst case scenario, if you've got nothing, just getting low and down and actually getting to the ground. Because you are less vulnerable when you're low. It's more difficult for that animal to get at you.
Before we knew it, it was time to get going, and one of the outpost guides kindly drove us to our starting point for the afternoon.
I don't know why I always have to carry Philia's stuff. This is like back in Botswana, back in Serengeti, all the years back now, and he still makes me his ghillie. I have to carry it, everything. I have all the camera equipment in my back, and it doesn't even pay me for this.
Lies, it's all lies. So this is our first day on trail. Apparently we're not going to walk too far today, just down to the Luvuvu River, where we're going to find a spot to camp on the side of the river itself. And it's 40 degrees Celsius, so it's going to be a bit of a test. And we've got our big heavy bags on, so we'll quickly find out whether or not we pack too much stuff. So the first animals we saw was a small herd of zebras, a little bit shy, so they ran away. We're going to walk a little bit further and then take a break here under a big tree ahead. And that's probably what we'll do when it's as hot as it is over the next couple of days. Walk for 45 minutes and then rest for 15, just to make sure that we don't burn out. Like I said, it's 40 degrees today, and boy, you can feel it when you're walking out there in the sun. But the moment that you get into the shade, especially with this breeze, it cools down significantly. So that's the way that we're going to survive it for these first 2 days, because the forecast suggests that we're going to have the same heat again tomorrow. Luckily, it seems like this heat's going to break on the third day. So we're hoping for a thunderstorm overnight, and then it's going to be nice and cool for our last 2 days. But I tell you what, that's going to be a character test.
That is actually a star chestnut.
Every 100 meters or so, Andrew would point out something interesting.
Devil stuff. So we all hate it really, because it's the one with those. It's round and then it's got those. But the leaves are fascinating. So you just add a little bit of water to them. Should like bubble up there like a soap. And wash your hands. And you think, oh, they're going to be left all slimy and greasy and whatever. But there we go, like genuine soap. When you're coming up, did you see there's mapani, and then in the rocks there's another tree. So there you got a typical elephant dung. And when you pull out, it's the biggest piece, little piece of bark at this time of season. It's a few centimeters. You can normally match that up to the size of their molars. Okay, so there you got your normal, and then alongside here, also an elephant dung. Look at all the leaf matter, it hasn't been ground up.
So I have absolutely no idea how far we've walked, how long we've walked, or what time it is. And I love it. And just in this short time, the landscape and the vegetation has changed a lot. It went from red soil to sort of light beach colored soil here. We've got things like lala palms, which we didn't see earlier. And yeah, you really just kind of lose track of time. And even just in this short bit on our first afternoon, I'm very acutely aware of the fact that we're getting further and further away from civilization.
These two paths in the back, and we've learned it's a B for porcupine and a P for patcher. So it's the other way around. It's actually porcupine, and you can even see how he drags the quills there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're slowly making our way to a place that I've only ever seen in pictures and that I've dreamed of coming to since I was a small boy. It's called Lanner Gorge.
It's only another 50 meters or so. And I'll actually let you guys go in front.
Making our way to the viewpoint. Man, I'm so excited about this.
Put to the left there. That's the profile. So that's Kruger going south. Hills, Hutwini River.
Sure, words can't actually describe how beautiful this is, and it's such a beautiful clear day as well. And what a treat to come here on our very first afternoon. Geez, Andrew, if this is anything to judge the rest of the 4 days by, it's going to be a goodie.
Lots of surprises in store.
Oh.
Don't worry.
Use this opportunity.
From the viewpoint, we could actually see the area where we would camp that night, but we still had a bit of a walk to get there. Wow, how special was that? One of the most beautiful views I've ever seen in my life, and apparently we're going to walk along that ridge now, then head down to the river and set up camp right there in the sand. So it looks like the descent is about to begin. So we are very close to the bottom now, and it's the steepest, most technical bit, lots of loose rocks, and every now and again Andrew has to stop and scan the banks of the river with his binos just to see whether or not there's an animal waiting for us down there. From the viewpoint itself we could see two old Daga boys, buffalo bulls, lying down here at the bottom. So we just want to make sure that they don't surprise us and we don't surprise them. I was joking earlier when we were up at the Lanner Gorge viewpoint, and I said that there must have been some day hikers there before that said, wouldn't it be nice to take a backpack and a tent and to go down and camp down by the river? And that's exactly what we're doing now. What a privilege.
We're close, just a few hundred meters, guys. But there is, on this corner, quite thick bush. So I'll walk just a little bit ahead. Claudia will give me a gap, and then you guys will stay fairly close together, so that if you do bump anything, you're close to Claudia and there's a gap to me. But yeah, I mean, it's just close to the water, late in the day, you're right there, and you know that's sometimes when Murphy jumps out of the river.
Oh, beautiful.
I got to know this tree pretty well. Yeah, it's a stunning spot, eh?
Yeah. Look at our campsite for night number 1. It's this little sandy beach behind us, and our view looks like this. Unbelievable. It quickly became clear that we had company down by the river, and we would have to be extremely careful about where we walked, bathed, and scooped water. We couldn't have asked for a more spectacular spot to pitch our tent on the first evening, and there was no question about it. The next 4 days would be some of the wildest, most memorable ones we've ever spent in the bush. Wow, what an amazing place to spend our first night here, right on the bank of the Luvuvu River. Didn't hear much throughout the night. Something walked through the water, maybe a hippo or an elephant, and the baboons woke us up, calling here just above our tents. But what's been so amazing and what I've enjoyed the most is that I haven't thought about all the stats that we're so used to in town, including what's the time. I haven't even looked on my phone to see what the time is. And at first I thought of bringing a little thermometer with so I can see how tough we were in the 40-degree heat or maybe even 42 degrees, but eventually I decided to leave that at home as well. And then most of these guys here with me are trail runners, so they all have their running watches with them. So when they stayed with us in Hoedspruit the night before, they were all talking about their watches, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should take mine with as well. And luckily eventually I decided to leave that at home as well, because it doesn't matter how far we walk or how fast we walk or what time it is or how hot it is. Out here, for me, at least this week specifically, I just want to be. And that means getting rid of all the stats that I am sometimes a little bit obsessed with when I'm back in town. And this is a bit of a, let's call it a stats detox. And I think it's time to go and grab some coffee right now. Twice a day, Andrew made a small fire on which he boiled enough water for everyone's drinks in the morning and dinners in the evening. If I'm honest, breakfast was my favorite time on trail, enjoying a cup of coffee and listening to the dawn chorus. Here we go, time to pack up. Choma,
Yeah.
what did you think of this campsite here on the Luvuvu?
Sure. Probably one of the most wild places I've ever been, and it's so scenic. Yes, just spectacular. I woke up this morning just after 4, and to see the lights start coming over the horizon, yes, it's just amazing, really amazing.
So certainly not a full-on briefing, but just this morning, it's probably one of the more unique experiences you can have anywhere in the bush. Certainly that's what most people feel about. It's almost a meditation as you walk down the river, in the water, out the water. Yeah, you've got your slops on, so you'll miss the scarifying effect. One cool thing is that I allow us just to drop out of our strict single line formation. Rifles still up the front, so don't get ahead of them, but yeah, you can fan out a little bit. Yeah, just the open space and our good visibility allows us to do that. Once we're out the other side and onto the floodplain, then very much we'll go back into single file. I'm sure you remember the 5 rules, although they don't all apply for the next 4Ks or so. But yeah, lap it all up. It really is quite an experience to see some cool birds along the way. And as we get closer towards the floodplain, the chances of seeing buffalo, I mean, we did see those 2 buffalo just by that tree yesterday afternoon, but the chance of seeing buffalo or elephants start to increase quite a lot. And then on the other end of the river walk, we'll stop for a nice break, have a bit of brekkie, and then decide on the rest of the day from there, just depending what the weather's doing and what our vibe is.
Oh man, it's so nice to walk barefoot for once. Usually when I go on day hikes or shorter hikes with a lighter pack, I'll wear something like my Gym Green African Ranger boots for the extra ankle support. But on this trip, because I've got such a heavy bag and I'm moving around a lot, and then of course today we're actually walking barefoot where we've got to tie our shoes onto our packs, I've decided to bring my trail running shoes, and they've worked really, really well.
That's quite big, hey? I was going to go even water mongoose because that shape looks water mongoose, but it's big. Water mongoose is not as big.
Just found some hippo tracks. This is easily one of the most incredible things I've done in my entire life. And it's hard to believe that we're actually allowed to do this. It's true wilderness. Time to put our packs down for a little while, maybe eat a snack and get some rest.
Very comfortable, but you don't have lots of packing space. So there's 2 double beds folding up.
So look at this. I just came around the bend here to have a pee here behind one of the rocks, and here are some crocodile tracks. Look at this. This is where it came back into the water, and we've obviously been walking in the river itself, and it's shallow, but you know, they don't call them flat dogs for nothing. They can hide quite easily. So what's worked really well is to wear polarized sunglasses, because then at least you can see through the water. You don't have that reflection, and you can actually see the fish and stuff underneath, and of course if there are crocodiles. But luckily this area is very, very shallow, so even if there were to be a crocodile, you'd see its back. So we're trying our best not to take any chances, and at this stage it's the only way of actually getting to where we want to go, because the river is completely full in the gorge at the moment. But like I said, luckily shallow enough. So walking along the Luvuvu River past all these big trees has made us all look for a very rare bird, the Pell's fishing owl, that we know occur in this area. They're obviously looking for nice deep pools where they can fish, so we're going to keep our eyes peeled. And there's lots of other specials here in northern Kruger that you can look out for. Things like pennant-winged nightjars, which is the perfect time of the year now, early November, to look for them. Wattle eyes, racket-tailed rollers, bomes and mottled spinetails, all those beautiful birds that you very seldom see anywhere else in southern Africa. So it's about getting hot o'clock in the morning, and we already arrived at our second night's campsite. It's under that fig tree in the background. And we've actually dumped all our bags there and just taken out food, taken our shoes with us, and in my case a little chair as well, another one of my small luxuries. And we're going to walk to the floodplain where we'll look for a nice place to have lunch.
Clean the slate and not anything stands up.
So we were heading to a big nyala tree to go and have our lunch break, and there's an elephant underneath it. If we look hot, it's because we are hot. It's, I don't know, getting hungry o'clock, and behind us is a big Mashishiti tree, or nyala tree as it's also known, with plenty of shade. So we're actually going to park off here for a few hours. We brought our food with us. We'll probably lie down and take a nap, and then we'll head back to our campsite a little bit later. Crackers and cheese. After lunch, it was time to just be. We relaxed under the tree for over 4 hours, and I'd be lying if I said we didn't get a bit bored. But little did we know that this was all part of Andrew's plan to help us relax fully. One way to pass the time is to eat. Shortly after 2 o'clock, we braved the heat and started making our way back to the river and our campsite for the night. Just had a check, and it's sweating down more than just your butt crack degrees Celsius. We're busy walking back towards our campsite. We're gonna hopefully cool down a little bit in the river. Whew, warm. Oh man, so nice to bathe in the river. Nice, eh? Surrounded by yellow-billed kites and some spinetails, giant kingfisher. Life is good.
gentler orange, you could say.
Man, I love bathing in the river. Must be one of my favorite things in the whole world to do. That and walking barefoot in it like we did earlier today. Easily one of the most enjoyable things that I've done in my whole life. And then when we got back here a little bit earlier this afternoon, we had a saddle-billed stork, some yellow-billed kites, there was a woodpecker picking away across the river. We had a broad-billed roller fly over along with some bome spinetails. So an excellent afternoon for bird watching. And that's probably what we're going to be doing for the rest of the afternoon. Just sit down here in the sand, do some bird watching, later pitch our tent, and then have some trail food for dinner. Now they're predicting some rain for later tonight, or at least they did when we left Hoedspruit. And you can actually feel it in the air. The humidity's busy building up. So who knows? Maybe we'll wake up to a thunderstorm at midnight. But luckily we're prepared. We brought the covers for the tents. And if all goes well, it'll just be a little bit cooler tomorrow. Let's go and pitch that tent.
But I got it anyway.
That looks good. Like a little place where you can put goodies up at the top. Look at this beautiful room. Hello, Tabby. Hello. That looks so nice. Our second night's campsite on the bank of the river was easily the most beautiful spot I've ever pitched my tent on. Tabby, what are you having?
I'm having pasta arrabbiata.
Yum. Beef burrito filling without the burritos.
What is a burrito?
And started packing up. And unfortunately, it had rained a little bit in the night.
So last night I slept a lot of clock. A big storm came over, but it didn't actually rain. Just lots of wind and lightning. So we all got up and put our covers on, but luckily we didn't get wet. So this morning, as you can see, nice and overcast. So even though it's nice and cool and it's just started raining, obviously we have to fill up with water before we go. And this area here, it's so shallow. So when we got here yesterday afternoon, we could all easily bathe here. But guess what? As soon as it got dark, we saw the eyes of the crocodiles as they came around. So yeah, again, gotta be so careful. Looks like there's some rain coming. Thanks for the water.
Well, I'm getting it done by myself.
Guess what my favorite color is? they can actually overlap. I'm exaggerating it here, but that can actually overlap. The two hoofs can overlap with one another. So if you see that, well, an eland has quite a lot of a mound there, and it'll come up like a triangle. And if you watch them, Camp and Yala are the best to learn from because they're very accustomed people. The back foot actually touches the front foot, and it slips under, and then the next one's. We'll use this as our breakfast coffee stop, and then we'll loop through Hutwini and come back here, so we won't actually carry our bags through.
Brace, so it's all at the back. You know, suck your toe when you
It's such beautiful weather for walking today, and we just had a lovely coffee stop under this apple leaf behind us, and we've actually left all our bags there to walk to a place that Andrew says is very, very beautiful. It's called Hutwini Gorge, and because it's a little bit of a climb up there, we've decided to travel light. One of my favorite things on this trail was walking in places that I knew I would never otherwise see, and Hutwini Gorge was one of them. It's hard to put into words just how beautiful this gorge is. You really have to come and experience it for yourself. Andrew spoke a bit about the history of this remarkable area and the tribes that used to live here, signs of which were carved out in the rocks below us.
And I don't actually know how, but I know you moved there.
Putting down our backpacks and traveling light was such a great idea. After passing through the gorge, we climbed onto a rocky ridge to look at some gigantic baobab trees. Every day my mind was blown by just how beautiful this part of Kruger is. The cool, drizzly weather was a godsend after the heat of the previous 2 days, and none of us minded getting a little bit wet. After our round trip to Hutwini Gorge, we picked up our backpacks again and headed towards our next campsite.
None of them go in until they're all there. And then the smallest ones go in first because they can go the deepest. And then the bigger ones further outside.
How far was it? So much long.
Yeah, somewhere there, I'm not sure. Named after like the style of the Matabele.
And if they didn't get anything, then stuff like.
Oh, there you go, another one.
It's just after lunch o'clock and we are making our way to tonight's campsite, which is apparently right next to a spring. And it looks like the weatherman finally got the forecast right as well, because where yesterday was scorching hot, it's actually quite chilly today. In fact, I'll go as far as to call it cold. And I think it's mostly because of all the rain that fell today. Luckily, there's a little bit of a break now, so we're not getting wet while we walk. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing what the spring looks like.
waking up in the region. Too fading.
So this is our very unique home for the night, and it's called Mashishiti Spring, and it's quite a distance from the Luvuvu River, and as you can see there's beautiful fresh water just coming out of the ground, and that's what we're busy doing now, filling up our water bottles until we go up onto the rocks where we're going to sleep for the night. How's it taste, Hapi?
Delicious.
As wonderful as it was camping on the bank of the river, pitching our tents on the rocky outcrop above the spring was even more exhilarating than the 2 nights before. This was as wild as it gets. How crazy is this campsite? On the rocks, we've pitched our tents on the rocks, and I'm making my way down to the spring now to go and have a bath. And Andrew basically said that it's actually a good thing if we make a little bit of noise, because then any animals in the area will know that this is our place for the night. Of course, we'd love to see some buffalo or elephant or anything else come down to drink, but we also need to establish our presence here. So this is one way of doing it. So I'm just gonna take my mug, find a place, and then wash myself a little bit. Wow, what a life. So this is basically where he said is the best place to have a bath, behind these wild date palms, because there's a little bit of flow of water there. There we go. This looks like the spot. Woohoo, that's cold. Honestly, this is the most incredible thing. I just washed myself in a natural spring where buffalo and elephants come and drink with my coffee mug. And that's just been the nature of this hike. Every day you think you found the most incredible spot, the most unique experience, the most beautiful view, and then the next day Andrew takes you to a place that's even better. I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying this. How was that bath, Francois?
Wow, magic.
It's nuts, eh? Oh. We were just saying that we're so grateful that everybody could join. My brother and sister-in-law and old friends here in Talita, and just enjoyed Andrew and Claudia's company so much as well. So yeah, top tip, come with the right people. This is a place where you can really reconnect and, I don't know, spend special time with special people. So that's the spring, and then right up there you might just be able to make out the tents, and the view is unbelievable. So here to the right is the honeymoon suite. Claudia's got her tent up there at the moment. Check that game trail, you can see exactly where the elephants come from, even down here. It was so kind of Trish from the Trail Food Company to sponsor some trail food for this hike. And as you can see behind me, everybody's eating trail food in the evenings. Such a great variety, so easy to make. You literally just tear the packet open, fill it with boiled water, close it up for kind of between 10 and 30 minutes, depending on what you're eating, and then you're ready to go. So thank you so much for that. And if you guys want some easy, delicious meals for hiking, go and check out the Trail Food website in the video description. Rananas, what trail food are you having tonight?
I am having chicken and lentil curry. Very excited.
Yeah, and Talita, what trail food are you guys having
We
tonight?
are having So we're having the North African couscous, and I must say it's the second time I'm having it. That's how good it is.
Nice. Claudia, what trail food are you having tonight?
I'm having the North African couscous as well,
Nom nom nom.
because it's the best.
Andrew, you just having coffee for dinner?
I see. It's hotter than 70 is fine.
just like the previous morning, we woke up to a cool and rainy day. Shortly after midday, we reached our campsite for the night, the Limpopo riverbed, and immediately Andrew started digging for fresh water where an elephant had had a drink earlier.
I mean, you just got to scoop, and even like that, if you just start scooping now, until you scooped all of that water plus a bit more, it'll go crystal clear.
Yeah.
And because it's a sand filter, I drink it straight, and it actually tastes really good.
It was raining this morning when we woke up, so it was hard for me to film, and I thought what a great opportunity to just put my phone and my camera away and just to enjoy the hike like everybody else has up to this point. And I must say I really enjoyed it, and it made me feel incredibly close to nature, not having the pressure of actually filming. Now, speaking about pressure, I don't know about you guys, but usually around the end of November I am so tired, and I think it's because of all the stress that you carry with you throughout the year. And no matter how many massages you've had or weekends away with the family, you still need a long break to just, rejuvenate your soul and to be ready for the next year. But what this hike has allowed me to do is to have a complete reset. And I think it's because I had a total digital detox. No text messages, no emails, no sports scores, no politics. And I've really enjoyed that. And on top of that, it has been the opportunity to see all the beautiful birds that northern Kruger has to offer, and to drink from where the elephants drink, and to sit under the same trees that the fish eagles do. And I must admit, I've never been on a hike that has made me feel this close to nature before. So if you guys feel like that's something that you would enjoy, come out and hike with Andrew Booth of WildSide in the Pafuri region, and I'll make sure to leave all the details below in the video description. And if you've got any questions, you're welcome to ask those to me in the comments down below as well. Now, speaking of beautiful places, Andrew actually left the best for last, and this morning he took us to a fever tree forest. Now, tonight is our last night, and we're actually going to be camping right here behind me inside the Limpopo riverbed. When you camp in the sand, Andrew always looks for a large stump or a tree trunk next to which you can pitch your tents, because it acts as a chair, a shelf, a table, or even a hanger. For me, it's part of what made this trail so special. The fact that our campsites were so carefully chosen, ensuring that we were not only comfortable, but also that we had the most unique experience. We ended the day in the best possible way, sitting around a fire. I can't think of a better way to see and experience the magical Pafuri region than on a backpack trail with Andrew and WildSide. From walking barefoot in the Luvuvu River and exploring the hidden gems in this wilderness, to sharing the land with the animals and camping in some of the most beautiful spots imaginable. It truly is a bucket list experience. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments down below, or send an email to andrew@wildsidetrails.com. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support my adventures, please consider becoming a patron like all these awesome people by following the link that I've added in the video description. And a special shout out to my first Pangolin tier patron, Simon Wakenshaw. Until next time.
Daddy, it's time to retire.
Otherwise,
Please let me go.
from here to